Okay, so here we are in a Hardy Street Eatery, and I'm about to have my long-awaited, much-delayed interview with James Rutherford, who's the owner and the head chef of Hardy Street Eatery, my local cafe, occasional restaurant, and we're here to talk on the theme of the way in which Kiwis balance life and work. So James, thank you so much for coming in on a Monday, day off, hence the empty place. It's great to finally catch up with you. I'd like to start, if I may, just ask you to give us a little bit of background.
Good afternoon, Adrian. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. A little bit of background about myself, or
Yes.
about the business. A little bit of background about myself. I'm a born and raised South Island New Zealander. Grew up on a high country station in Canterbury, so a large amount of sheep and cattle. On finishing school, I went into the hospitality trade and started cooking, which was about 20 years ago, and since then have travelled extensively around the world, and returned to New Zealand about 7 or 8 years ago and settled ourselves in Wellington. And with the arrival of our first child, we decided to make the move down to Nelson about 3.5 years ago. And here we are.
Awesome. And what led to Hardy Street Eatery?
To be honest, I've always had a bit of a vision to open my own place. To have the flexibility to do what I want to do and to showcase what I've learned over my many years of hospitality throughout the world. So it's always been something that I've dreamt of doing.
Yeah. The travelled extensively throughout the world interests me. What kind of places?
So I left New Zealand as a young and very keen 19-year-old and moved to Australia and lived in Australia for a couple of years.
Huh.
After that, I travelled extensively through Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
Lived in Tokyo for 12 months.
Did you?
Yeah. So a lot of travel up through Thailand, Burma, Laos, 3-4 months in Nepal.
Wow.
And then moved on to London and did a stint in London and worked some really ridiculous hours for little pay. And from there moved to the Mediterranean and worked a number of years on private motor yachts in the Mediterranean and the Caribbean.
Fascinating. Yeah, I can definitely relate to the working in London, long hours for very little money.
My advice would be not to do it.
They have a lovely thing there now called 0 hours contracts. Yeah, it's a shocker. Great city, but shocking conditions for workers. Okay, fantastic. So you were speaking about a vision. Could you elaborate on the vision?
Look, the vision was always to make something that was family friendly and was sustainable. And what I mean by family friendly, I don't mean a family friendly restaurant. I mean family friendly for my partner and our family. So too often I've seen in this industry the extended hours and the hard work tearing up families. And I always had a vision to try and create something that gave us time and potentially in the future the flexibility for us to work for our family.
Excellent. Right, I hear that. That sounds very, very contemporary and quite visionary.
Some may say lazy.
Some may, but then prioritising your family, you can't really call that lazy, can you?
Exactly.
Especially with a young one. All right, excellent. Now, that leads quite nicely into one of the main questions for this particular theme of life-work balance. What's a typical day look like for you?
So a typical day for me at the moment now looks like it's split up during the week. So I have 3 days a week where I'll wake the kids up in the morning and then I'll pack the lunches and I'll take them off to school, and then I'll arrive at work at about 8 o'clock. And my role here at Hardy Street is now diversified a little bit, so I'm no longer just stuck in the kitchen. So on those days I'll be doing one shift on the floor and one shift in the kitchen. Again, I'll be out the door at about 2:45 to go and pick up the kids again.
Yes.
And with any luck, everything's been done, so we don't have to return and bribe them with marshmallows. and then Thursday and Friday, which are the big days for us here at Hardy Street, we do an evening service as well. So I start the morning at about 7:30, and we'll work through to about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the evening.
Okay. And so how is that balanced? Which are your days off?
So we've chosen to close the restaurant on Sunday and Monday.
Yeah.
So theoretically, we can stay away from it as much as possible.
Yeah.
And Saturdays, as the business is growing, I'm no longer needed here on a Saturday. So again, that is family time, and that is a good and nice work-life balance for us.
Yeah, phenomenal. Seems like you got it sorted on that side of things. Would you say that's really unusual in your industry? Yes,
I would say it's unusual, but the business models are changing all over the world. Because of a lot of factors, because of burnout, because of lack of staff. So I think it's really important. I'm not only looking after my own needs and my own work-life balance, but I'm also looking after the staff's work-life balance, because the longevity of them is a key to our success. So, if you can pack everything into a shorter amount of time and still end up with the same revenue, then go for it.
Awesome. Now, moving on to the leisure time, what you have of it. What kind of things do you like to do without family? What's your thing? What do you enjoy?
So my thing at the moment is spending a little bit of time by myself, and I've joined a local boxing gym probably about 2 years ago, which has been great for my physical self, but also my mental self with the stresses of being a business owner. So I try to get to boxing a couple of times a week, which is a fantastic community gym which really focuses on the youth in Melbourne.
Yes.
And yoga I've also started doing. So
nice combo.
At the moment, James' time is spent solely on trying to look after myself.
Yeah. So how much time would it take, the yoga and the boxing? Is that once a week?
So I've got about 4 hours a week where I have James' time penciled in, which is
cool.
Great.
Cool.
It's that time's hard to come by, and that time's very important.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how about family time?
Family time. Family time. How's family time spent? So I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old girl. So there's 3 girls in the household. So it's
no boxing at home then.
No boxing at home. No.
Bit of yoga.
So time with us. Look, we're big into our bike riding at the moment. So everyone's on their bike and their scooters.
Yes.
So we spend a lot of time with bikes on the back of the car and adventuring around the top of the South Island, looking for places. and this winter we'll be hoping to get the girls on skis,
Yes.
which will be really exciting. And there's a little local field very close to Nelson here.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome. Hey, just a little sidebar here. Just struck me. Hospitality across the world's been decimated by COVID. What's your take on it and experience of the whole COVID thing? Mainly people watching this will be at this stage from Japan, but where their industry suffered. But hopefully that will be extending to other regions as well. What's it been like for you? You're still here, obviously.
So I think New Zealand, obviously everybody's seen how fortunate New Zealand has been with COVID, and with being so isolated, we've been able to keep COVID out at best, which has been a lifeline to the hospitality sector. So all in all, hospitality in New Zealand, I think would be stronger than anywhere else in the world. Obviously, there's been some casualties.
Yeah.
But businesses that were doing a good job have seen numbers increase over the last 12 months.
Yeah.
And that's from a lack of our clientele being able to travel overseas. So they're spending in New Zealand and in the region, and Nelson being a great region for travel within New Zealand has really benefited in the last 12 months. Which is hard to believe for somebody sitting on the other side of the world.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So we feel very fortunate.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And I guess pretty much to wrap things up, and without giving any trade secrets away, but what are your plans for the Eatery and for yourself over, I don't know, the next 3 to 5 years, if you've thought about it? I'm sure you have.
Yeah, absolutely. So the plan for us, Adrian, getting into this mess,
get out of it,
was always sustainability. So it was never about trying to create something and sell it. It was about trying to create an institution in Nelson and to make it as sustainable as possible moving forward. And that is to create a better work-life balance for myself and for the staff, and just to root ourselves in the community here. Yeah. It's a long-term plan. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's a vision that we hold for 5 years and going forward from that as well.
Fantastic. I'm glad to hear that, so that when all the COVID disruption passes, Hardy Street Eatery will still be here to welcome the thousands of people who've seen this video and can't wait to meet you and sample some of your excellent coffee and food.
Absolutely. Excellent. We look forward to welcoming one and all.
James, thanks so much for your time. Very, very helpful, and thank you for just explaining things so clearly. Catch you soon.
Thank you, Adrian.